Star Replier said, Craig, if Jones goes, I'd be comfortable if Leone is the replacement. Also, I think Chiesa is more likely to stay than Gakpo because he's double-sided. So, Gakpo's the one that would bring in money, if you're being, looking at it from that perspective. And if Liverpool did want to kick on into the market and spend some more money and, bring in some more, Gakpo would be one of the ones that would be a decent cash generator. The first part, what you said there is exactly what I said to a journalist I was speaking with earlier, that I'd have no problem with Trey Leone stepping into Curtis Jones' spot in the squad. Absolutely none. In fact, I'd prefer it at this point. It's hard to look at these situations from the outside and form an opinion about somebody, but it does feel to me on the outside like Jones just wants a move. And I'm going to read out a report actually coming out from Italy earlier on. Let me read this out to you. So this is To Sport over in Italy. They say that Curtis Jones remains the subject of serious interest from Inter Milan. And the Serie A side, according to the Echo anyway, have made their offers to Liverpool, but none have met the Reds' £35 million valuation. The report does say that Curtis Jones has iron determination to leave Liverpool, having shown a firm desire to move to Italy. And they go on to say in the piece that this is apparently the case to such an extent that if a summer move fails, he'll make a transfer as a free agent next year when his Liverpool deal expires. Now, again, we're taking a bit of a leap of faith here, but if there's some truth in that article, sell him. Even if you have to get a few quid less, sell him. Sell him as quickly as you can and give yourself some time to either, give Trey Leone a more senior position or to remove somebody who doesn't want to be around the club anymore. The Curtis Jones situation is a fascinating one because when I speak to people who aren't Liverpool fans, they don't understand the kind of reverence at which Curtis Jones seemed to get from fellow professionals or former Liverpool players about his stature at the club. Because if you look at it and you take the scouts part out of it, he's a fairly decent midfielder. But you wonder how much weight him being scouts has had in this whole situation. Because it feels like he's going to go. And I don't think any of us are going to lose too much sleep about that, if we're really honest. Craig, hope you're well. Does Liverpool have a history of being this slow to sign players? I thought they got a wake-up call when Gay went to City, but I guess they hadn't. Well, historically, like we said before, Chad, Liverpool have had 50% of the business done before they start pre-season games. That's a historical reference, but all I can say at this point, mate, is I'm far more upbeat about the possibility of more business than I was when we last spoke. At least now I've got a full 24 hours to have spoken with people and, got a better feeling of where we're at, or at least a better understanding of where Liverpool are looking to have conversations. And then I got a better picture of, like I said, the homegrown spot versus the non-homegrown spot. And some things then start to make sense in my head. So, yeah, it's going to be a rush. And do I think we're all going to be ultimately happy, Chad? No. I don't. I still think there will be a position or two that we feel we could have and should have got sorted out that we don't. Yeah. Stevie said, you don't give any earth-shattering news either, just like the journalists don't. Yeah, but I'm not a journalist, Stevie. It's not my job to break news. I'm a football fan, mate, and I've never claimed to be anything else. It's not that difficult. I'm not a journalist. I'm a football fan. And people come in here because they enjoy the camaraderie, they enjoy the chats, and without trying to blow my own trumpet, I'm the best watch-along host that there is on the internet, in my opinion, and I'm not going to apologise for that. So I don't need to prove anything to you or to anybody else, but like I said, my information is what I get and I pass it along. Ultimately, I don't care. If you believe me, don't believe me, trust it, don't trust it, think it's earth-shattering, not earth-shattering. If I wanted to string you along, I could do it a lot better than this, and I could be a lot more vague about it, and I could be a lot more leading with phrases, but I choose not to be because I've always promised you honesty. And I do know more, but I'm not saying it because of dickheads like you, because it's not worth a pain in the arse for me, mate, at this point. If I told you everything I knew, you'd probably be a lot calmer, but I'm not going to, because what's the point? It's not worth the grief. And I'm not a journalist, so it's not my place to break these stories. I just pass along what I know. Terry said, any team did well during your break. Hope your daughter's well and sound out last stream I saw. So yeah, daughter's good. Thank you, Terry. She's actually over in Germany at the minute with her fella. So yeah, having a nice little break away. Yeah, she's good. We think we've gotten closer to finding out why she fainted and what the situation was. But yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate you asking after her, Terry. And I'm all good, bro. I'm all good. Extreme Soldier said, "Hey Craig, what's your thoughts on this being the third PSG linked player? Barcola and buying Zabarny, starting to feel like a feeder club." So the honest answer to that is, my first thought was, Jesus, Slot must be fuming. Slot must be fuming because he spent 2 years basically brown nosing PSG. Then he leaves, and here we are, as you said, mate, linked with some of their players. So we're almost building a little PSG light, and I think Arna would have liked that. So yeah, that was my first thought. On the Zabarny thing, I've always tried to be honest about that and said, I'm not really sure where we are with him. You know, you could look at it and think we could absolutely justifiably go after him. 23 years of age, Premier League proven, the manager knows him. But then you look at it the other way, and there was 57, 58 million quid that Paris Saint-Germain paid for him. And that's where I struggle with it. I struggle to see a world where Liverpool can get to a number or are willing to invest in that level of a centre-back. I wish I was wrong, and Jesus, I hope I'm wrong. But I struggle to see that one with how it's proceeding so far and with the level of money that we're looking to spend in attack. So I hope I'm right, or I'm wrong, excuse me, and there is something to it. But at this point, it's just a name that's been mentioned rather than that I can say I feel upbeat about or anything. Issa Judah said, Craig, you think we get Barcola done? Yes, I do. I do. I think. Now, I'm using the word think. I could use a different word. I could tell you the numbers that I've heard. I could tell you exactly what I've heard. Like I said, Friday could be an interesting day. I know that is vague, but it's intentionally vague. It's intentionally vague because I don't want the grief if it doesn't happen on Friday and it happened Monday or Tuesday or whatever. But without speaking out of turn, I think the outline is agreed, and I think it's details at this point and closing details around the conversation with Paris Saint-Germain with Bradley Barcola. I don't believe Arsenal are a problem to us at this point. Yeah, I'm pretty confident we get Barcola, but you know, other people are even more confident than I am. But I don't want to say it out loud because, you know, it's putting my nuts on the chopping block. Shy-Town Red said, glad you're back, Craig. Any truth to Madrid's Asensio? So the first thing that I do when you see a player like that is you do a quick search, right? So you do a quick search to see what the stories are. And one thing that popped up in a quick search concerned me, and that is a legal matter that he still has hanging over his head. And I can't really talk about it in any more depth than that, but you can find that information out if you do a quick search. That makes me very doubtful on it. But after that, mate, I don't know. You know, I've seen the same reports that you have. It's here. Team Talk said Liverpool reportedly being approached about a deal for Real Madrid defender Raul Asensio. Sources confirmed that the intermediaries contacted the Reds regarding the 23-year-old centre-back. However, despite Real Madrid being keen to let the player go, sources apparently insist Asensio has no desire to leave Los Blancos this summer. So that's all that I've seen reported, but for me, I can't add anything to that at all. Basil Hassan, how are you, my man? Said, Craig, would you take a swap deal for Spence and Gakpo? I mean, I'll say no, and I'll say no for a very specific reason, and that's accounting purposes. At this stage, though, if Spurs, it would have, like, okay, sorry, I'm getting ahead. My mind's going a bit faster than my mouth here. The 45-day rule is something we have to keep an eye on there. And that rule in a kind of roundabout way is, if you do business with the same club, one player going in, another player coming out within a 45-day period, from an accounting perspective, according to FIFA's rules, that is seen as a part exchange. Now, I don't understand the ins and outs of it. Mo Chatra at Anfield Index or one of those guys, far better place to talk about this than me. But that could be an issue. Now, what I was told a while ago was to get around that issue, there could be the possibility of the deal being a loan deal with an obligation at the end of it. But that was more vague conversations than a guaranteed bit of inside information. So you have to keep an eye on the 45-day thing. Because if we sold Cody Gakpo there, let's say we sold, I'm making up numbers here, but let's say we sold Cody for 70 and we got Spence for 40. Then from the accounting perspective, that would be 40 off against 70. It would offset some of the profit. So keep an eye on that. And that is one other potential headache in all of this, like we said, which could see a loan deal for Spence if Liverpool did proceed with it.